and that's, this is the framework. This is giving us some idea of potential boundaries on this problem that we didn't have before, but particularly in the deeper zones. I mean, before we did this framework assessment, there were virtually no good information on groundwater flow directions in the deeper zones and how they may vary through the year. There was information in the shallow zone, but this has allowed us to really refine what the RI needs to do. Yes, ma'am.
Repeat the question. She asked if there was something that that people could do on their own wells to protect them against contamination.
That's right, the water coming into your house. Yes. What? Oh, from the city well, but that's a municipal system under. Yes, yes, sir.
So there are some things that you can do to help clean up your own water if it is contaminated. And one of the first steps that's been done is to drink the bottled water. But apart from that, you can have a filtering system that can be used temporarily. And a reverse osmosis system would probably be pretty effective to remove the arsenic and the uranium. Now those things need to be maintained, and it's not something you can just install and forget about. So there is a fair amount of maintenance on that. The Brita, that's probably a carbon filter, and it probably wouldn't be real effective for that.
And pass it to this lady in front of you.
In 1983, applied hydrology report, and again in 2000, there was discussion of interconnection between the aquifers. Is there any indication, any further information on that now?
Yes, sir, there is. As a matter of fact, that's one of the better parts of this hydrogeologic framework assessment. In the old documents, there was always referred to as shallow, intermediate, deep, that you would see reference to shallow clay and deep clay, okay, that supposedly offered a lot of separation between these zones. All right. Well, as part of this assessment, what we're seeing is those clays are, particularly as you move further north of the site, are much more discontinuous than originally conceptualized, but then you move north of the site, we didn't have any deep wells that either for those old documents. So yeah. This is my interpretation, okay? Now, as we get more data, I'll make we refine it. But basically, in some of the data we're seeing, it looks like I can still have some amount of hydraulic separation. Don't call these confining units or aquifluids or anything like that. Water still will move, but some amount of separation for distance, some distance north of the site, 1,000, 1,500 feet. I have some pretty good hydraulic evidence that there is maybe between the shallow and intermediate, shallow and deeper zones some separation. As you move over beyond, say about this point, here's the zones are not really separated. So we still use the terminology that was established years ago, but we don't use it in terms of trying to say that these zones are fully separate from each other. We're just using it in terms of elevation cutoffs so that when we say shallow wells, everybody has a similar idea of where these wells are treated. So we know what we're talking about. Shallow wells being near the water table, intermediate wells being there's a 100-foot zone, and there's a deep zone, and then 50 to 100, generally speaking, intermediate. So it's more of just a terminology now. It's not a true separation. We know more about that system now. There's mixing with water, especially general sense, we can talk a lot more about the extent than we could before this HFA was completed. Duration, I mean, that's this problem, I mean, getting contamination spread as far as mine components, you talk about things are decades in the making. I mean, duration by duration would take time it would take to remediate a problem like this. There are no short-term solutions, no easy short-term solutions in a site this large with this type of contamination. So you could be thinking of, at best, no, well, I'm supposed to say decades again, in the fix problem.
Well, we've been told that we have for program estimation of, extent of contamination, and especially if it's moving off site. And we were told there's no such thing, but wouldn't these actually be considered plume maps? And especially the uranium in the shallow, in terms of the well salvage site, I always put everything into micrograms per liter because that's how our water results are given to us. It does confuse some of the residents when they get a look at the data maps. They're always, in a different, and it would make it easier for us when we're trying to do our own kind of, looking up things, if you guys kept them in the same, either use the micrograms for the dirt, makes it easier. But anyway, the south monitoring wells are as low as 5.8 milligrams per liter. And even when you go east, they're like 9.2, 13. Then, like you said, you get on the site and they get extraordinarily high. And then you get off the site and, again, right across Blues here, your monitoring wells are as high as 390, 290 off-site wells. Get up to Campbell Lane, it's 4. And so, doesn't that pretty much, signify that we got a plume of uranium that's come off the site?
Yes, ma'am. These levels, yes. I don't think there are too many people in the audience here that would argue with me that there is mine impact groundwater uranium that goes north of the site and, to some extent, the lateral direction, yeah. It's moved around, different processes going on the site. We've got ag processes help move the stuff around a little bit too. And a lot of this probably occurred during mine operation. It was a totally different world then. We've taken a lot of water in a relatively dry world and ended up putting it on the surface down here. Now, when you do that, a lot of it infiltrates. It causes water to move quicker through the subsurface. And so when I mentioned earlier that groundwater speeds, movement now maybe 100 feet might be actually a high number for a lot of sites. Now, that's now. And that's during operations, when they're putting all the water out, it's quite likely much higher than that. Okay, so in my interpretation, at least this stage of the process, that yes, you've got evidence from mine impacting groundwater. Sulfate's an excellent example because you use a lot of sulfate here, you dispose of a lot of sulfate at the surface, and you've got sulfate concentrations. Looking here at the site, that monitoring well, 21,000. Let's see what units were. Okay.
Milligrams.
Milligrams per